Right. All right, dear Mr. Fantasy, Week 7. This is not Minty next to me. We got Jeffro. Should I say your government name, or should we just stick with Jeffro? I should probably
just stick with Jeffro. Who cares?
Okay. Jeffro, who does a lot of data analysis and works with PMT. Big fantasy football guy as well, so wanted to get him on. Minty is in the air right now, thousands of feet above the earth. He was at the LSU Ole Miss game last night, and he's flying to Colorado for a Barstool Sportsbook gambling tournament. So he is not able to join today, but Jeffro is more than an adequate sub, so we'll be here to take your questions. But Jeffro, why don't you give the people just a word or two about yourself so you can so they can.
Yeah, sure. I joined Barstool just at the beginning of the football year. I do a lot of comedic sports statistics analysis, so check out my blog. I do a weekly sad stats that seems to have been getting a lot of good feedback. So I just take this kind of the saddest things. I've been a Bears fan my whole life. I was born right after they won the Super Bowl, so all I know is sadness with football. So I can relate to all the other sad fan bases out there. So check that out. I just posted one this morning too on how to fix Russell Wilson. So check that out too.
Do you think that is a spin zone to just like them ruling him out with a hamstring injury like the day before? Like they're not even going to test it.
Yeah. It's finally come to a head where it's like, oh, he's playing injured to now. You know what? Let's give him a week off.
Yeah, it's wild too because I think he started like 10 for 10 against the Chargers, and then like I think
he must have been like
eight for like 40, like horrible. All right, let's get into some questions. And also, yes, shout out Reganator. Like the stream, that always helps us a lot. This is an interesting one from Sean Vineyard. Jeff Wilson Jr. or AJ Dillon or Najee Harris in his PPR. Niner situation could be a little bit muddled. Christian McCaffrey is in the building. He is slated to be active today. So Jeffro, what do you think about this conundrum? PPR, Jeff Wilson, AJ Dillon, or Najee?
The first name that comes to mind here as far as to rule out to me would be Jeff Wilson. I think they're probably going to give CMC the goal line work, and Wilson will definitely get some play. If I'm picking between these guys, I'm just going to take Najee with the volume play here.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. All right. Field Yates just gave his actives, inactives, officially active. Mark Andrews, who was questionable throughout the week. They announced he's probably going to play last night. Rashad Bateman making his return today. Gus Edwards for the Ravens activated. He was originally, I believe, he was on PUP or it was IR, I forget, but he was.
They got him up real quick.
Yep. Yeah. Marvin Jones, AJ Terrell, cornerback for the Falcons, very good player. Josh Reynolds is active, and Sammy Watkins active for the Packers. Let's talk about that one really quick. Do you think that affects any Romeo Doubs stock or Alan Lazard stock with Watkins being active, or is it just kind of whatever?
No, I think Doubs is the full go this week. Watkins is active, but I heard he's still going to be fairly limited. So, I mean, they just need a body in that Green Bay wide receiver crew to put out there. He might just be more of a decoy or whatever, but fire Doubs up.
Yep. And then big fantasy news. This was expected, but DeAndre Swift is going to be inactive today, along with Jahan Dotson.
What a buzzkill that guy is, man. I don't have any shares of him, but what a talent. And he's so good to show it back.
Yeah. He's like the Dalvin Cook, but like light, because he is that type of guy when he's on the field, but Dalvin Cook, you can set your watch to. He's going to miss 3 or 4 games every year. DeAndre Swift's looking like more than that. All right, let's go with this is a tough one. We got Tyler Algier Clyde EdwardsHelaire, who it looks like is not going to start today, which is an interesting report out of Rap
Oh, is
Sheet.
that right?
Yeah, he said Isaiah Pacheco is slated to start, was taking first team reps all week.
Is Kyle Shanahan in Kansas City now? What's going on there?
Yeah. But he's an interesting prospect. 7th rounder. He's got, the ideal measurables, and he has performed when given the opportunity. He's also wearing number 10, which is bold, right after Tyreek Hill had left, but I kind of like that. Or MG3. Who do you like here?
I kind of like that's Melvin Gordon, right?
Yeah,
Just so I'm not an idiot. Okay, yeah. So I kind of like Melvin here. With Wilson not playing, they're going to lean on the run game. It could be that, like, how reps have a makeup call. This might be the makeup game for not playing him that much. Was it last week? Don't hate Algier though, so kind of a toss up between those two.
Yeah, I like Algier a lot. I know his fantasy numbers haven't been great, but his carries have been consistent, and I know that he's splitting work with Caleb Huntley. But he's
the only concern there, and I don't really disagree with you, but the only concern there, I think, at the goal line is, how many carries is Marcus going to take himself?
Yep. Yeah. He's been keeping those a lot. But this is a tough situation. Clyde EdwardsHelaire, I've never liked, to be honest. He has been really good this year for fantasy owners, but with him basically being benched, that's a tough spot to start him in fantasy.
Yeah, I try to do to figure out who the fantasy football troll of the year is every year, and he's starting to creep on my list here. So a guy that, whether if you start him, he sucks, or if you don't start him, he goes off, that kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis was leading so far, but he kind of remedied that last week.
Yeah. All right, we got champagne problems here from Gage Thompson. Can only start 2 PTR, Damian Pierce, Josh Jacobs, or Jonathan Taylor. Do you bench the number 1 overall pick?
Imagine this question in week 1.
Yeah. I took a flyer on Josh Jacobs to lead the league in rushing a couple weeks ago, plus 7.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Game. He's certainly got.
Is he?
What's that?
Is he number 1? I think
he's not. He's not right now. I think he's like 3rd or 4th.
Okay.
Nick Chubb is number 1 by a decent margin, but Jacobs is gaining steam. 2 huge games, then obviously they had the bye last week. So I'm interested to see what type of work he'll get today. Houston is a very bad run defense. Yeah. So I think for me, Jacobs is an auto start there. Then you're going between Pierce and Taylor. This is tough because Jonathan Taylor's coming off an injury, and he has not been very good this year. If you drafted him, I'm sure you spent either the number 1 or number 2 pick on him, so it's hard to bench him for Damian Pierce. Damian Pierce has been really solid.
Lovey did mention the old we're going to give him 20 too.
Did he?
Week,
okay.
So he did. Now, whether or not that goes for 2-3 yards every time, we'll be see. But yeah,
he's explosive. He could break 1 or 2.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got that capability. Gosh, you're either going to look like the smartest person in the world or the dumbest person in the world. So, I can't tell you for sure. I would go with what you feel is right here if you're in the situation, because I could pick a name to drop here, but I can't pick one confidently.
Yeah, I think in fantasy you should always go with the hot hand. Pierce is hot. I think this could also be a sneaky over game. The total's 45. I didn't check this morning.
Yesterday for Houston.
Yeah, for the over under in that game. I think this could be a sneaky high scoring game. So I'm going to go with Pierce and Jacobs here.
I don't hate it.
All right, let's go. Mo Lester, Deontay Johnson, or Brandon Aiyuk full point PPR.
Aiyuk all day on this one. They're playing the Chiefs. They're going to need to put the ball in the air. McCaffrey's going to be running routes. The Chiefs are going to be, looking for that, at least as a decoy. And Aiyuk's on the up and up. What do you have? Like, he had over, I think I have it written down here, 11 targets last week. Like, they're feeding him.
Yeah. Before we get into some more questions, the rest of the show is brought to you by Roman. Testosterone is an important part of a man's body and health, but men's testosterone starts to deplete with age, which is why it's important you support it Early signs of low T can include a decline in energy and stamina, weight gain, hair loss, and low sex drive. Roman's testosterone support supplements were designed by real doctors to help men maintain their body's natural testosterone production. The daily supplement includes 6 nutrients to help support testosterone levels, bone health, and muscle development. So why wouldn't you want the proper levels of testosterone in your body? Go to getroman.com/FFF today. That's getroman.com/FFF, and you'll get 20% off there. And now Roman Tea support is also available nationwide at retail, so you can find it in the supplements aisle at your local Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. So check that out. Roman Tea support, awesome stuff. Thanks for Roman for sponsoring the show. Here's one that I like. Regular human fantasy player. Full point PPR, Christian Kirk, Alec Pierce, George Pickens. I think for the most part, these guys are all kind of trending up. Christian Kirk certainly is outperforming his draft status. I'm a huge Alec Pierce guy. I think I actually have him. I didn't even actually tweet that out. I'm going to tweet out my big brain parlay, which he is part of. Alec Pierce had, I think, 3 catches for 49 yards last week and a touchdown. He could have had 100 yards easily. I think he drew 3 defensive pass interference calls. So he is a big play guy. He's had at least 61 yards or more in each of his games outside of yesterday since week 1, where he kind of had a dud and got hurt. But I like Alec Pierce a lot. I think he is for me, a comfortable wide receiver 3 in fantasy right now.
Oh, for sure. I think you could argue a low wide receiver 2 as well.
Yep.
Full stamp of approval on that. And the Titans are giving up the second most points to wide receivers so far this year. 7. He's been averaging 7 targets the last 3 games. I even have this theory that he might even be Matt Ryan's blood boy, keeping Matt Ryan alive in his elder years. So he's paying him back by giving him the ball.
What do you think about this prop? I was kind of puzzled by it. Matt Ryan completions 22.5. I was going to hammer the over, and I did in like a same game parlay because he's been throwing the ball a ton, and I think they average, I want to say it was like 37 pass attempts against the Titans in their past 3 matchups, even with Wentz.
I think I heard, I don't think I'm wrong here, he has the most passing yards in the NFL. Is that right?
He's chucking it a ton, especially with Jonathan Taylor's back, but he hasn't had a ton of success against the Titans. So,
yeah. I don't hate that prop. The only thing you want to keep in mind, I think the Titans are probably going to run the ball a lot, right? So they're probably going to chew up a lot of time. And I don't expect this to be, a super slug out, shootout, but still, even so, yeah, he's been aside from that Denver game. He's been slinging it.
Yeah. Here's a good one from Dereganator. Best fantasy show in the freaking game. Josh Allen on a bye. Give me some good waiver QBs to target. Trusted in. What happened last night? One of our favorite guests. Do you have anything, Jeffro, for potential?
A couple of guys that jump to mind are Jimmy Garoppolo versus the Chiefs and Marcus Mariota versus the Bengals. A lot of bye weeks for quarterbacks and wide receivers with the Bills and the Eagles and the Vikings and Rams out this week. Those are 2 that jump to my mind that I think you might be able to snag.
I have a confession to make, and I don't like him this week, so this isn't going to apply to this question. Justin Fields is trending up, and it's pretty gross. Just because the first couple weeks he's throwing it, not even teen times a game. But he's a guy to keep an eye on fantasy wise, just because if he's rushing for 60 to 80 yards a game, that's such a safe floor. If he can get 1 passing touchdown, you are at, depending on your league scoring system, 12 or 14 points, 10 points on the low end, right away. Without any passing yards, and that's assuming he doesn't throw for more than 1. So he's a guy I think that is trending up a little bit, but is definitely.
Yeah, I think you're right that this probably isn't the right week for that.
Not against the Patriots.
Given Bill Belichick's 8-minute rant on how good the Bears are, we all know what that means.
I would certainly agree with that. All right, Michael Novella. Kenyan Drake with J.K. Dobbins out for, it looks like, 4 to 6 with a knee scope. Josh Reynolds or Hunter Renfrow, full point PPR.
I mean, I think I'm going Drake here.
Yeah, Gus Edwards coming back. I am so nervous about that whole backfield. I kind of wanted to stay away from it in my leagues, but if you're in that boat, Hunter Renfrow looks like he's going to play. He's had concussions and also just like not been very good when he's been in there this year. So yeah, I think Kenyan Drake is probably your safest.
Yeah, I mean, I like Reynolds, but not this week against Dallas. They've just been
Dallas is
guilty.
Yeah. All right, let's go with Nick Solis, regular recurring guest. Thank you, Nick. All right, we got James Robinson, David Montgomery, or Brian Robinson, who's looked pretty good. Full point PPR. Where are you going, Jeff?
This one probably going Brian. I'm going to pick Brian as the best of the Robinsons.
Yeah, I would say so. Travis Etienne is eating into Brian Robinson's share a lot.
James Robinson.
James Robinson. Sorry, yeah. Travis Etienne is eating into James Robinson's share a lot. Brian Robinson has destroyed Antonio Gibson's share. And he is not, I don't even think he's rosterable right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I think Brian's the player.
Here we go. Matt Dixon, bye week hit me hard, half point PPR. Pick 3. So just let's exclude one of these. Zay Jones, Robert Woods, MVS, or Devin Duvernay. Rashad Bateman coming back this week.
All right. So I think Duvernay is an absolute hold. He's you put him in. I hate MVS because I played him last week and he goose egged me. But I think that might be a good dart to take just because, like Mahomes said in the preseason, it's going to be a new guy every week. So you can just kind of plug your nose and play that. And then we need one more, right? Yeah, pick 3.
Well, just pick one guy to basically sit.
Oh, okay. One, then Duvernay. Then, yeah, throw the rest in the trash.
Yeah, I would agree. Just because with Bateman back, Bateman is clearly ahead of him. Duvernay is a decent fill-in start if Bateman is out. But
well, it does say pick 3 out of the 4, right? I would draft.
So I mean, just bench one.
Yeah, just one of the first 2.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, pick 3 meaning like he's starting 3.
Right, out of the 4.
Yeah.
Zay Jones, Robert Woods, MVS, Duvernay.
So you're benching Duvernay?
No, benching one of the first 2, either Zay Jones or Robert Woods. Gotcha. Maybe I fucked up that's what I meant to say.
All good. Our guy Michael Kent, AJ Dillon, Mike Williams, or Alec Pierce. Pick one, standard league, so not even half point PPR. Does this boost Dillon's value enough to start him in this? Potentially a high scoring game with I keep wanting to say San Diego, but the Chargers and the Seahawks, and then Alec Pierce, we are both fans of.
Yeah, I like Alec Pierce a lot, but Dillon's playing the Commanders. So, yeah, I'm taking Dillon.
I was so high on A.J. Dillon in the preseason, and I am buying as much A.J. Dillon stock as being sold. I think his value is super low right now. I know he's not he hasn't produced a lot of results, but I think going forward till the end of the year, he is still getting a lot of carries in Green Bay. And I think as the weather gets colder, he's going to become more and more valuable. All right. Jeff Kubin, Jeff Wilson Jr., Drake London, or Curtis Samuel, full point PPR. I think we can both rule out Jeff Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Between Drake London and Curtis Samuel, who do you like?
Yeah, I really like Curtis Samuel this week, at least in comparison with this list. Looks like Dotson is out, if I'm not mistaken, and Taylor Heineke at the helm. Logan Thomas has been out a few weeks, so not a lot of other places to put the ball aside from what's his name?
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin. So I think given the other names on this list, that's the way to go.
All right, great. I know that there was one guy we talked about before. Where is it? There we go. Noah Young, Romeo Doubs, or Michael Gallup in the flex.
Okay, I like both of these guys. I think if you don't play Gallup in this spot, why is he on your team? He's playing the Detroit Lions, who have given up the most points in the league, and they've had the benefit of a bye. So 170 points. The next top team, I think, is at 163. I don't hate Dobbs either, though. Green Bay is struggling at receiver. They're going to start Sammy Watkins, who's going to be playing while injured. I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have. So you're not in a bad spot with either of these guys, but I think with Dak back, I know he would target Gallup when he was before he got injured. So that's my play here for this one.
Cool. This is a nice one. From Carrick Barnett, Kenyan Drake or Isaiah Pacheco, both Dobbins and EdwardsHelaire are out. Who is your play out of these guys?
See, I think you're a little bit more worried about Gus Bus than I am for now. I think they brought him back so quickly. I'm not sure how involved he's going to be right away. I know he has a history with the team, so he definitely knows the playbook.
Yep.
Versus Clyde EdwardsHelaire, who, Hilaire is out. Okay, so, yeah, I just like Drake. I think he kind of showed his talent and will be the better play between these two.
I'm interested to see what Kansas City looks like around the goal line, because Jerick McKinnon gets in a lot around there, and he is
he scored last week, I believe, too.
Yeah, he is like a shifty guy. Are they going to hand it off to him necessarily? Not always. Mahomes does a lot of like shovel stuff, and obviously stuff in the receiving game he's very valuable at. I'm interested to see with Pacheco moving up on the depth chart. Is this going to be more of a get inside the 3-yard line and hand it off to what seems to be a very capable between the tackles runner, or is it still going to be kind of like the Jerick McKinnon show? So that'll be something to watch. Let me also talk to you guys about Chevy. We're starting to see pretenders and contenders emerging after the first month and a half of the season. There's one player that is never a pretender and always a contender, and that player is Chevy Silverado. The Silverado shows up week in and week out with unstoppable grit and determination. Chevy Silverado is the ultimate tailgate flex with multi-flex tailgate and power outlet built right into the bed. And the first ever ZR2 is the ultimate off-road machine. From tailgates in stadium lots to off-road adventures, Chevy Silverado has you covered. Head over to Chevy.com to learn more about the Silverado. I said this every time I do the read. You're going to be super surprised how much space is offered inside the Silverado. As a guy who had never had a pickup truck before, I was blown away. Silverado is awesome, so definitely check that out, especially if you're heading out to a tailgate. People with Silverados have a massive leg up on everyone else. All right, let's get into we got a tight end question from Spice Rack. I got Spice Rack. Kyle Pitts or Gerald Everett, tight end one, full point PPR.
Give me the revenge game here. I'll take Everett versus Seattle. I think Seattle has given up the most points to tight end. Their receivers are not doing well. Allen's still out, I believe. Yep. I know they had the other guy, Parham, right?
Getting he's involved. Very tall. He's like 6'7".
He is very tall. He caught that overthrown ball that I think only he could have caught last week when he was wide open. But still, Everett's been very solid. I think he's been very reliable, and it's Justin Herbert too. Again, Seattle giving up the most points to tight end is the key tipper of the scale on this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking both these guys are very talented. Kyle Pitts definitely more talented.
Absolutely,
but he calls from Marcus Mariota, and Gerald Everett gets Justin Herbert. So I'm certainly going to agree and go with Everett here. Let's go with good time. So Christian McCaffrey now out in Carolina. Who do they roll with?
Why not both?
Chuba Hubbard or Deontay Foreman. Bye week massacred me. Let me know from good time. For any dozen fans out there, it is not Chuba Hubbard.
I just flip a coin and don't open up your fantasy app until the end of the day and just see what happened.
I believe Matthew Berry was the one that tweeted out like Deontay Foreman is the guy to own in Carolina. I would roll with Foreman. I know that Hubbard was certainly in what the Rule clan and his wife takes claim in making that pick for the team, which is not a great sign.
That's so. All right. There you go. A little inside scoop there.
Yeah, but I think Deontay Foreman is going to be the play there. Ryan asking Amon-Ra St. Brown or Brandon Cooks. I mean, this one is, I feel like, pretty open and shut. And I like Houston, Vegas to be like fairly high scoring, but I don't think you can bench Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, this dude, since like I don't know what happened in the latter half of last year, but he turned into like one of the best. If you just do a cut from week, I don't know what it was, 10 or so, around there to now, he would be one of the top scoring wide receivers for probably the last couple decades.
Jeff, we're new to each other, so one thing that I do, this is Amon-Ra St. Brown is my big victory lap. I hope he has a great rest.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Because I had him rank, his ADP going into the year was wide receiver 31, which I felt I had him wide receiver 11. Just looking at it was a 6-game sample of him getting, I believe it was 8+ targets in every game. So he was just a monster. And there was no reason why that wouldn't carry over to this year, especially with the Lions projected to trail in a lot of games, which has obviously been good fortune.
Yeah, I've got some best ball shares of him. So he's paying off for me in some ways.
Speaking of Lions receivers, ZD52 wants to know, when should we pick up Jamison Williams? DJ Chark was just put on IR too, so he's gone for about at least 4 weeks.
I'm going to punt on this one. I'm not exactly sure.
So Jamison Williams, from what I heard, was ahead of schedule, was supposed to come back a little bit earlier than Thanksgiving. I would be hesitant. Like, if you have an IR spot that you can add him and then stash him on that for a few weeks, I think it could be worth it, just because the Lions have been getting points out of the receiver. Josh Reynolds is a fantasy guy that has started for a lot of people. So I think it's worth at least a flyer, especially if DJ Chark remains out. But I think you're still a few weeks away from him actually getting into the lineup. So if you have the patience to do that for, let's say, a month, I think it could be worth it. But that IR spot, especially now with bye weeks, can be very valuable.
I'm seeing a comment for the Carolina backfield question that Hubbard is starting today. So take that. Check into that.
Oh, that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Here's one. Oh, this is both for our teams. So I'm a Bucs fan, you're a Bears fan. Who to start in full point PPR, Khalil Herbert or Rashad White? Do you have a case for Herbert?
That's my case. No.
Rashad White is an interesting play today because the Bucs are 13.5-point favorites in Carolina. I think they are going to pass the ball early and often to get ahead, but once they do get ahead, I could see them taking the air out of the ball in the second half. Rashad White is a good receiver, so I think he's going to give you at least 3 catches, but I think he's going to run the ball a lot in the second half. So I think he's a sneaky, if you need a plug-and-play flex guy, and a bunch of your guys are on buys, I think that he is startable today, low level, he's a running back 3, but with bye weeks, he can fill in today. Matchup.
Yeah, just to confirm, Hubbard from Schefter 19 minutes ago is starting.
Okay. All right. Wow. Big. Let's go. Thank you, Tyler Keister. Austin Wormling, Amon-Ra St. Brown or Chris Godwin.
So what wins here? Your homerism or your takeism?
I mean, for fantasy, I try and be as unbiased as possible. Chris Godwin, I do think, has a good game today. I think his over-under is like 62.5. But I got to go Amon-Ra St. Brown just because he is, without a doubt, the guy. The Bucs passing offense is typically going to be pretty tough to predict. Godwin is Brady's go-to guy, though, more so than Mike Evans. And the more he gets healthy, the more I like him. So if you can buy Chris Godwin low right now, I would definitely do that. But I would not start him over Amon-Ra St. Brown in any league. Probably.
Yeah, even against Dallas, he's almost matchup proof.
Yeah. Speaking of Dallas, Nelson Shirley, full point PPR, Zeke, Romeo Doubs, or Mike Williams?
I'm hearing a lot of people say this is the week that Zeke kind of gets back into shape with Dak back.
Zeke's been decent this year.
He's kind of been low key, just not his splashy self like he was his rookie year or anything, but he's been good. I think I would go Zeke here. What do you think?
Yeah, full point PPR can make you lean one way or another with Keenan Allen out. Like, is Mike Williams really that guy? He is very low floor, but very high ceiling. So he could easily, I would not be surprised if Mike Williams finishes the week as wide receiver 1. Full point PPR. The Seahawks have Tariq Woolen out there, so that could present the problem. I don't know. I find it hard to go away from Mike Williams just with Keenan Allen out.
Yeah, I actually might retract. I think I think you sold me with, and again, because they're playing Seattle, terrible defense, and Keenan Allen out.
Yeah. Let's take this one from Bill. Isaiah Pacheco or Rashad Bateman coming back from injury.
Who's Baltimore got again?
Baltimore has the Browns.
The Browns, yeah.
I'm going to go with Pacheco. He's a starting running back for a high-scoring offense in a game that's projected to be high-scoring.
Yeah, I think
you got to lean that way.
Maybe in full point PPR, I think about Bateman, but otherwise probably Pacheco.
Okay. It was half point PPR. He just commented.
Okay.
We got a quarterback question from Chris DeSante. Trevor Lawrence or Aaron Rodgers?
Let's see.
Aaron Rodgers threw 3 touchdowns against Washington last year. Trevor Lawrence, the Jaguars are favored against the 5-1 Giants, which is an interesting line to me. I don't really know how to feel about this game. I just know I love Travis Etienne catching the ball.
I'm going to go Rodgers just because they're playing the Commanders. I think that probably makes the difference. The Giants are not the Giants that we know of in recent years. Daboll has really pulled that team around. So,
yep. Let's go with Waller still out. We go Robert Tonyan, who had a big game last week, or Foster Moreau, full point PPR.
Yeah, just kind of piggybacking off the rationale for Rodgers, I'll go Tonyan here. And also, like we talked about before, with Green Bay being down at wide receiver, that's a guy that has been on Aaron Rodgers' team for a while. He trusts him. Fire him up.
Yep. We're getting a lot of questions from Blake Street Breakers. Start 2.5 point PPR, Jeff Wilson Jr., James Robinson, Kenyan Drake. I think we can agree James Robinson is the steadiest of this group. But who would you go with number 2, Jeff Wilson Jr. or Kenyan Drake?
I'm going to go Drake. I think I've outed myself as a Drake truther this week, apparently. So I'll take him.
Wow, this is huge. We got Tom Brady in the chat asking fantasy questions about an hour before kickoff. This is huge. Tom, big fan.
Priorities.
Nice to see you again. Robert Woods or Josh Reynolds? I know Dallas is a good defense, but I can't like with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Robert Woods is just a guy. I know Josh Reynolds is too, but Dallas has a good defense, but explosive wise, like I think that game could be more high scoring than Indy, Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree. I'm disappointed. I was actually very hopeful on Robert Woods being that guy you can get late in the draft and just being like a steady replacement kind of level guy to help your team. But
yep. All right, we're going to take 2 more. We got to get here at 12:05 just to make sure we can upload this in time. This is a question I like from Alejandro. Justin Fields or Davis Mills? Send help. I kind of like Davis Mills this week, and that's really scary because he has been really bad, but they're playing the Raiders, who are not a very good defense. Justin Fields going against New England. I think as a Bears fan, you can put the kibosh on that, right?
Oh, yeah, big time. Again, like I said before, Bill Belichick doesn't go on 10-minute rants about schmoozing up another team unless he plans on beating them by 30.
Yeah. All right, let's go with our last one. All right, this is a generic one. Thoughts on Christian McCaffrey this week from Paul Mosley?
Yeah, so here I've got McCaffrey in my home keeper league. I'm starting him. It's a FOMO play, but here's the deal. There's 2 ways you can lose. You can either start him and he gets you, he takes a few carries, gets you a couple of points, and he's the weak link on your team. That sucks. But you don't want to not start him and get 2 touchdowns from getting goal line work, being an outlet, kind of a dump off type receiver, and maybe he breaks one. Just fire him up. There's got to be someone on your team that is, that you can put him in the flex for.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, this was a lot of fun. Jeffro, thank you very much for filling in. This has been great. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. Best of luck, and hopefully we can see you guys in the winner's circle.
All right. Thanks, Steve.